Welcome back to the channel. Today's episode, we got us a new tool, and I really like new tools. So we're going to do an unboxing of this so I can show you what comes in the box. I'm going to give you some first impressions, and then we'll take some footage of us using it, and I'll let you know how well I like it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it pretty well because a good friend of mine named Jim, who actually has a YouTube channel of his own called Stout Custom, put a link to it up top somewhere. Click on that link. He does a lot of C10 projects. It's a pretty cool channel. Go check him out. But he gave it the thumbs up and said it was a game changer. So we went ahead and bought one. We're going to get some footage of everything we do with it and tell you how well we like it. So stay tuned. Alright, so let's get this thing opened up. Alright, not much in here. Looks like we got a couple little tools, probably for tightening the belt and everything. The tool itself. Got a little lever here. It is pneumatic. We have to put a fitting on here. So first impressions, this thing's pretty nice. Let's see here. It's got a kind of a cant to it. A little bit of an angle. Looking at the length of this, you'll be able to reach up in a hole and sand a spot weld or grind down something that you would need to reach up in a hole for pretty easily. It's pretty cool. I wonder if this thing's movable. Pretty nice. Let's see what else is in the box. And we got some instructions. And that is about it. So, wow, it's a pretty thick book. So we'll read that later on. There you go. Yes, so there's a 13-inch and there's an 18-inch. We got the 13-inch one, but I think you can upgrade to the 18-inch by just buying the extension piece. So let's put this out of the way. There were no belts in here, so I did buy a pack of 36 belts. There's 36 grit. There's 10 belts in here, and these pieces, it's pretty aggressive. It's pretty rough. I think this is going to work really well. So I'm going to get some footage or some film of us using this and try to give you some feedback on how well it works and how well I like it. Alright, so we got some picture instructions here that came with the belt. You always got to love picture instructions. Very few words if you don't like to read. So, from the picture instructions, you're supposed to inspect the belt. If it's got cracks in it, it needs to be replaced. Got your eyeball there looking at the belt. Yep, you push that piece in, pull that cover off, slide the belt on, wear all this safety protection. See there, that's the instructions. You got to read the instructions. Looks like gloves, ear protection, eye protection, dust mask, respirator, and even a shield. And then it tells you some ways that you can use it, which way the sparks are going to go if you use it. You got check marks by that one. Looks like that's okay. Looks like that's okay. Do not use it like that. Okay, and we go to 5. Yeah, I have no idea what that means. 18 degrees, 22 degrees Celsius, 45, 65%. Yeah, I don't know what that means. And another picture of how to use it. So let me show you how this 3M mini file belt sander compares to the other grinding tools that we have. So these are all the tools that we would use to grind a factory spot weld or clean up a MIG weld. So obviously the drill got a 90-degree angle grinder which uses 36 grit little roll lock disc. We also have this what I call the thick grinding wheel that works really well and really fast. And then the tool we're looking at here, the little belt sander. So I've got this little piece of here to show you exactly what a spot weld is. A factory spot weld is basically two pieces of metal, and sometimes more than two pieces of metal, that have two contact points on a spot welder that actually squeeze together the metal and then create heat, which creates that little spot weld and welds these two pieces together. Now, when say you want to replace this piece here, you will actually grind away the metal with a grinder on just this metal and leave the metal on the other side. That way you have something to weld to. So the options are drilling it with a drill. You can basically use a drill to drill out that spot weld and do that same thing on all of these other welds to get it to come loose. The only problem with the drill is you have to stop short of going through the second piece of metal, because if you make the metal go away on the other side, there's nothing to weld to when you go back to weld it back together with a MIG. Now, a way to alleviate that with the drill is don't drill all the way through, obviously. This tool here works really well and really fast to grind away the metal on the outside skin here, and it leaves good metal on the other side. That works really well, and that's what we mostly use. You can also use this here, the angle grinder here with a 36 grit, and grind it away, just this outer skin, and leave the other side. This isn't quite as fast, and it uses up a lot of material as far as the discs go. This disc lasts a long time, and it works really well. So this will do the same thing as the grinders, just by grinding the little weld out, going through just the first layer of metal. So in essence, on a flat open area like this, any one of these tools will work. Where this tool excels is in a spot like this, where the spot weld is back in a hole, in a cavity that you can't actually get this grinder in or this grinder in. Now, you can drill that hole, so you can use this or the belt sander to actually drill through that hole there. The only thing that you can't do with the drill is you can't clean up the weld, the MIG weld, once you've welded the new piece back on. So when you're welding this back together with a MIG and you weld that spot weld up and you want to clean that weld, you can't clean up a weld with a drill. So that leaves this tool as the only option you have to reach up in there and clean up that weld. So that being said, this tool is a great tool to have in your toolbox. You can pretty much do everything that any of these other tools can do with just this tool, but it doesn't do it as well as some of the other things. So if you can get to the area pretty easily, this is the fastest and easiest way, and this is probably the most common thing we use to grind out factory spot welds and to clean up MIG welds. But if you've got a spot that you can't get to up in a corner, this thing's a must-to-have. So prior to us having this tool, if there were a MIG weld up in a hole that you couldn't get to, we pretty much had to leave it just a MIG weld. Now, it doesn't affect the strength of the weld or anything like that. It's just not as pretty. So if you're trying to make this thing look smooth and pretty, all the welds all look factory, and you've got one up in a hole, this thing's really nice to have. So in recap, this tool will do pretty much anything that the other three grinders will do, just not as efficiently or as fast. But what this will do that these other grinders and stuff will not do kind of makes this thing a necessity to have in your toolbox. So I recommend having this thing in your toolbox. You can use it solely to grind welds, clean up MIG welds and grind spot welds. But if you have other tools that you're using that are a little bit faster and use a little bit less material, use these on the easy to reach spots and the harder to get areas. This thing it works really well for that. And while I've got it out, let me show you a few things about how to adjust this tool. See this little silver Phillips head here? You can turn this in and out, and it controls the tracking of the belt. You want this belt to ride in the very center of the pulley. That way it won't sling belts on you. So it's set pretty much, when you pull out of the box, it was set pretty good, but I adjusted it. It was a little bit canted to the left, I adjusted it back to where it pulls right in the middle of the pulley, but you can wherever you like it to ride, but I think right in the middle is probably the best. And also let me show you how to change the belt on this thing. So you're going to want to push down. It's spring loaded here. You want to push down on this little lever here, and it'll lock with this little latch that frees up the belt. You've got a little cover, little dust cover here. You pop this off, which lets you get the old belt off. And just for giggles, let's go ahead and change the belt. Let me grab the new belt. So I've got a new belt here. You're going to want to set it down in the little groove there. Get it set over that. And you can push this little lever and it will release this spring. And the belt's on. Go ahead and put your little dust cover back on. And you are ready to start grinding.
As a child, my family's menu consisted of two choices: take it or leave it.
Alright, so that's going to be about it for this video on this 3M belt sander. I think this tool will make a great addition to anyone's toolbox who does any type of grinding, especially if you do grinding up in hard to reach areas. If you have any thoughts or questions about this tool, leave it in the comment section down below. If you liked the video, hit that like button and share it with your friends. Also, consider subscribing to the channel and clicking on the bell icon. That way you won't miss any future content. To me, this tool gets 2 thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya! Alright, so that's going to be about it for this video, and I got to sneeze. Maybe not. Hey. Corona! Whew.